What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. For those that don't know, my name is Alina Smith. I'm a writer and producer for artists and projects like Sunmi, ITZY, Red Velvet, Fall Out Boy, Betty Who, Classy, and many others. And on this channel, we discuss all things songwriting and music production. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, hit it down below. All right, guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be making a track like Red Velvet using the plugins from Captain Plugins Epic. Basically, we have a package of 5 plugins here. I'm going to use most of them in this video. So Captain Beat suggests different drum patterns for you to easily write a drum beat. Captain Chords does the very same thing with chords. Captain Melody, you guessed it, helps you create a melody. So actually, I already recorded this video, so I'm just doing the intro and the outro afterwards. And when I recorded it, I really didn't know what I was going to make. I had like zero idea in my mind of genre, style, like I just didn't know. So, and it actually is really fun how it came together and how by hearing one of these suggestions from the Captain Plugins Epic, I was like, oh, we're gonna go in this direction. So, and the direction ended up being very Red Velvet, which is kind of fitting because that's very like similar to my artist style as well. So I think this is a fun process to show off. So yeah, without further ado, let's just jump straight into the video. Let's go ahead and start with some drums. Okay, so it defaults to just like a 4 on the floor, but we can basically choose from these presets, which is really cool. And it tells you what the BPM is, so you can adjust it in your DAW as well. Let's see what this sounds like. It's like a house beat, that's cool. So, you know, you can just kind of scan through and see what's inspiring. I kind of like that. It seems like an 80s vibe of sorts. So I think let's just go ahead and roll with this. We can always adjust it. Okay, and the cool thing is, of course, we can keep these sounds, but I don't think I'm going to because I have sounds that I like better, basically. So I'm going to go ahead and just export channel MIDI to a new MIDI track, and then I can use my own shaker sound for it. And boom, there it is. So, and then I can take the clave and do the same thing, just export the MIDI to another MIDI track, and boom, we have our like beginning beat right here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and find my own clave sound, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do just sampler from Ableton. Yeah, and I love that, and we can use Ableton to kind of randomize the volume a little bit so it feels a little more lively. All right, so I added a couple of things to this beat, nothing too crazy. I added a kick drum. And I used Oliver's, one of his more retro sounding kicks from Splice because it just really fits this 80s vibe. Then I have this clap as like my main snare. It's from the Synthwave kit or sample pack, I guess, on Splice. This is a really good one for like authentic sounding 80s type stuff. And here we have this clap with a non-lin verb. You know, I'm going all in on the 80s. Yeah, and together with our shaker and clave, it sounds like this. Next up, I think we should choose some chords. This is a really fun part of the Captain Epic's package because basically you can have it write the chords for you, choose out of a lot of presets, and then you can adjust them or not, just use them as is. So right here, you can choose out of presets of chord progressions. This one's called Top Chords. So, and you can kind of be like, okay, top 40, Americana, electronic, house, and you can kind of choose your subgenre. Like, let's say, let's go for R&B. And then you can choose the types of progressions. And basically, it will write it for you like this. Yeah, like this. And then you can be like, oh, let's say I don't like this one chord. And you can just swap it out for this, for example, or anything you want, really. And if you use this complexity button, it adds more notes basically to the chord, which is very cool. Okay, so let's say these are like my main chords that I like. I can obviously keep them inside here because you can also change the sound here. Obviously I have just the piano, but you can choose like different types of sounds. Piano with strings, like a trap piano. That's cool, really cool. So yeah, you can choose out of a lot of sounds. For me, I'll probably just want the MIDI. Okay, so I have imported the chords back into Ableton, and I actually adjusted a few things here. So as you can here it's a little bit different than the way it came out of Captain Chords. But I think that's the beautiful thing. It kind of gave me the jump start, the inspiration. So yeah, a couple of different chord walk-ups, this quarter note one, the slower one, this eighth note one at the end. So lots of fun. And I used a brass patch from Diva, one of my favorite just synth plugins in general, but anything 80s reminiscent, you will catch me use like 15 instances of Diva. I'm not even joking. All right, so the next step I think we should take is we should make a bass line. Now I hear something that kind of follows these chords because they're kind of busy, but maybe has like a few extra notes, like maybe dun 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 dun, like some movement. So I could write it myself, or I could use Captain Deep, which basically interacts with Captain Chords and writes the bass line for you, like gives you suggestions for it, which is really, really cool, especially if you don't know what you want to do, you need some ideas. This really helps. So the first thing I have to point out is that I imported the new chords, the adjusted chords that I made back into Captain Chords. You can just do it right here, import MIDI, and you put it back in there. And what Captain Deep does, it interacts with Captain Chords, so it knows what chords you have in Captain Chords, and it's going to follow that with a bass line that it suggests. It's not going to play random notes, which is super, super neat. So currently I have it set to follow the chords. So it's just going to repeat a bass note like whenever there is a chord, right? So it sounds like this right now. So nice and simple and clean. You can, again, choose the sound preset. I'm going to use one of my own, so it kind of doesn't matter at this point. But you definitely can use theirs because there's quite a few good ones in there. So what I want to do here is I want to basically play around with these rhythms, right? Because we can do follow the chords, which is exactly what it sounds like, or you can try other rhythms. So that's what I want to do. And there's presets in here for different genres. Top 40 sounds right. It also could be house, like electronic. We'll see. I want to go through these. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. Obviously, it's not like the right thing, so we can scan through them. I do like these kind of repetitions. It's very busy and a little bit like too much, but it is pretty interesting. One more feature I have to show you guys is this dice button. It's kind of cool. So right now, like I picked one of the presets just for fun. It sounds like this. Kind of interesting. I still think it's a little busy, but what this does though, it completely just changes whatever you chose and gives you a whole new bass line that's totally random. So you can just keep randomizing until you get something that you're like, oh, that's cool. And you can always undo if you don't like it. So there's actually something that I found that I like. I like this. Da-da-da. It's not quite right. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to export two different bass MIDI versions. I'm going to export one with those grace notes or extra notes, whatever you want to call them. And then I'm going to export the one that just followed the chord, and I'm going to combine them. Okay, so I added a couple of things to this. Mostly I wanted to add melodic tonal elements because, we had just the brass stabs and they were quite busy. So I was like, I have to be a little bit careful with what I do. So basically I added this kind of low, basically bass note type piano. And I think this is really cool because it kind of goes with this, adds a little more dimension to the sound. Just kind of makes everything sound a little bit bigger. I also added this little bell walk up that kind of has the same rhythm as these chords right here. Just adds a little more melody. I also did this thing, which I think is actually really cool. Sometimes when you're sound designing, you're like, you don't know what's going to happen. And this one, I was like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. But I did this thing at the top right here. And all it is, it's the same brass sound as the main sound. And I basically did like a piano roll and just held one note. But what I did is I bounced it down as a wave. And then I basically just dragged down the pitch. And I also emphasized the walk-ups, the chord walk-ups with another brass sound that's a little more wah-ish. and an octave up. So all together sounds like this. It's sounding really fun to me. It's starting to give me Red Velvet, and I live for it. Okay, so I went ahead and I added a few more things. So I got this tom fill right here. Everything's like a little bit rough, but it just kind of gives me ideas of where the fills should be. And then when this is getting more finalized, I can, adjust things with a fine-tooth comb. And now I got like another hat loop here, a couple of impacts, crashes, things like that. Just a few little things. So it kind of livens the beat up. So this is what it sounds like right now. I think it's really cool. So in my mind, and I don't know if this will work out like this because, when things get top lined, things change. But I kind of see this as the post-chorus section. All of this right here, and this is the chorus. And what I'm thinking is it would be cool to have some sort of lead line. Now, it might end up being the vocal doing this, but there's this really cool plugin from Captain Chords. Basically, it's Captain Melody. So just like Captain Deep, it's going to link up with the chords in Captain Chords, and it's going to adjust itself to it. And all I have to do is basically hit create an idea, and it's going to suggest a melody for me. So let's just go ahead and listen to this and see what this sounds like. So that's cool. I can even like flip this up and just kind of see how it feels with the beat. So yeah, and we can go ahead. Okay, let's like see what else we can do, and you can try these different presets. Okay, that actually is really, really cool. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but I think this could be something that I can adjust. So let's go ahead. I'm carrying the same kind of bell that I have right here. Let me just copy this instance of Diva to this MIDI. And let's go ahead and grab this MIDI from Captain Melody and just go ahead and put it right here in the post-chorus section. It's really cool. Maybe go up a little bit. So I will play you guys the whole thing, and I think it turned out really, really good. Like I said, basic verse idea here. Okay, yeah, so this is what we have. I'm actually really happy with this. The ideas were just flowing. It's not all like perfect. Obviously, it needs like a lot of work to be like a final track, but it is a good like song starting process to do it this way. Yeah, so thank you so much, Captain Epic, for this chance to check out your wonderful plugins. All right, guys, and this is how I created this track, this Red Velvet style track using Captain Plugins Epic. Thank you so much, Captain Plugins, for sponsoring this video and for letting me try out these plugins. It was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. Now, guys, as always, down below, feel free to ask questions if you didn't understand something I did, if you have any even unrelated music questions. question, go ahead, ask me. Don't ask me if I'm single, I'm not. But anything music related, go ahead and ask. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like and a comment. That really helps the channel grow. And at that, I'm going to go. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.